you've got mail. Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers to Canal on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next hour or so, along with Nick.
Good morning.
Good
That was a
morning.
close one.
Say what?
That was a close one. I had a
Yeah.
mouthful
Oh,
of
well.
coffee.
And Gal is here.
Good morning,
Good
everybody.
morning. Katie just notified
I'm
me
here
that
for now.
Huh?
I'm here for now.
Well, yeah, you're gonna have to leave
Yeah.
shortly. That's all right. Katie just informed me that she woke up with a sore throat, so she's not gonna be here. And Spence is still in Alaska. But anyway, our number is 919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And today's show is made possible by vMix Software and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear. So, how was last week?
Last week,
Yeah, you're shaking your head.
week was
What?
good. I mean, I'm busy with work, so I don't know. Last week was
So
good.
that's good. That's great. Are you done with the training or are you still
No.
okay?
Still officially still a couple of weeks on training. Yeah. Mostly I'm honing my tool set basically. Uh Setting up, all of I'm you know me guys. I mean, I customize my environment anally.
No,
So
that's not
uh
true.
but I've already been able to help out other people with, scripting and stuff like that to get some tasks done fast. So I'm I feel like I'm not just dead weight. So that's good.
Nice. Nice. Nick, how was your week down in Wilmington?
It was pretty good. I'm still dealing with some Windows issues.
On the computer. Window.
Yeah, yeah, Windows. I did run an interesting command this week. For the first time, there's the D is it DISM exe, the thing that like verifies your Windows image. I ran it this week. I was, and it's kind of weird. I don't know if everything is happening in unison or not, but I there's a way to do a DISM where it like downloads an image from. You do it with an online flag versus I guess without the online flag, and that seemed to actually do something. Like normally the DISM just like goes through. It takes like 60 seconds and it doesn't seem to do anything. I ran it
Mhm.
with the online flag and it seemed to do something. Um, but I haven't rebooted since, so I feel like maybe that's part of my problem. So still dealing with that. If I can't get it resolved now, when you do a refresh of Windows,
Mhm.
it it says it keeps all of your programs and your files. Is that actually true?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
It's like an
in
in-place
my
upgrade.
in my experience, not really, except it keeps most of the stuff. But
Like what doesn't it keep?
you will have to go in and repair some things if you changed.
Like what?
Oh, geez, configuration stuff and uh, damn, I
Because
can't
I feel like
remember.
No, it's
that's
not
I feel
it's
like
not rewriting the it's not
that's
rewriting the registry as far as I know.
what I'm going to have. I'm gonna have to wait for a 3-day weekend and do it on like a Friday afternoon.
Wait,
And
God, did you say it doesn't
It doesn't
rewrite?
touch the registry
What good
and
is a
it doesn't
refresh?
touch your program files
No, program files is okay. Yeah.
and user data. It just rewrites
The
all of the
alleles?
files basically that comes with Microsoft Windows.
So like I'm looking at the recovery options in the Windows 11
Mm.
settings, and it says reset this PC, choose to keep or remove your personal files, then reinstall Windows. So I guess I would just
No,
need
no,
to do
no, no.
that.
So that's something else. So that's not a refresh. Reset means everything is moved to a Windows.alt folder
Okay.
and Windows installed. So you're not losing anything, but you're getting a fresh, brand new Windows installation,
Right.
right? The files are not going to be deleted.
But
They're
you
just
but
going to be moved aside. There's no
Okay.
format happening. That's what it means.
So what do I need to do?
What do you want to do? I'm trying to
I
understand
just
what
I
you
well I need Windows to stop acting afoul. I'm dealing with
Yeah, but
constant issues with Windows, and it's obvious that it's Windows. Programs just randomly shuttering and not opening, the file explorer just constantly freezing. It takes 90 seconds when you create a new folder for for file explorer to respond after you've
uh,
created it. It's just it's Windows. There's something screwed up with Windows.
and
I
there's no load on the system when that's
no.
happening?
No. I mean, I finish my podcast in the morning. I and everything. I go into D whatever path, right click, create a new folder, and it just hangs. Then it 60, 90 seconds later, it says new folder, and I can change the name. I change the new name, hangs another 90 seconds once I renamed it. Then it's done. Then it's great.
Okay. What makes you think it's Windows and not hardware?
Because of all that's just one example of that's just one of my examples. Let me see if I can.
Okay. Let
I've
let
got
me
I've
ask
got a
you.
whole bunch of things. Everything is just acting wonky, and I refuse to believe that a whole bunch of programs and everything are all just not working properly.
right.
And it's not something more underlying with Windows because of some of the weird behavior that I'm having.
Yeah, but what you're describing to me sounds more like a hardware issue than a software issue. So I would say before you go and nuke your Windows, you need to somehow um, um, make sure that that's not the case. Are you okay with running? I don't know. After you've done with the show, right? Running Ubuntu for the rest of the day from a USB drive and just seeing if you get those same behaviors in a completely different OS.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but I'm not sure that I'm going to get those different behaviors. Like for example, hardware wise, um, first thought would be memory. Um, I think I've run mem tests and mem checks, and I don't there's nothing that's jumping off the page on that. Um, the computer is
Well, actually,
stable.
actually, it sounds more like I/O. It sounds like it has to do with the drive, right? With writing. Now, maybe your problem isn't Windows, but it's something to do with the file system. And then you need a format anyway. But
What about
that's why I'm
resetting?
saying,
I don't think it's
like,
I don't think it's IO, and let me tell you why. I write an incredible amount of data to my disks every day, and I'm not having any data corruption issues. I've not lost any files. I mean, I'm writing when I'm recording my show in the morning, I'm recording at like something like 12 megabits a second for over an hour. It's a 7 gigabyte file when it's done. And there's nothing indicating that the files aren't corrupt. There's no issues with anything in that. It's it just I hear what you're saying. It seems like it's something screwy with Windows. Explorer just and obviously Explorer would be a good reason to believe that there was a disk issue. There's just other stuff that's weird. I'll get, for example, Photoshop. Pretty much every 2 or 3 days, I'll have to restart my computer because Photoshop tells me that it's out of memory. There's no memory available on the computer yet. I look at memory and task manager, it's at 40%. I can't open any Microsoft products. Word, Excel, PowerPoint, they load, they immediately crash. There's
Did
just
you
a lot of
reseat
weird
the
shit.
memory?
Yes, did that a couple weeks ago, and went into
okay,
my and then
start
a couple weeks
before
ago
you nuke Windows.
I went into my BIOS. I updated to the most latest BIOS. I reseated the memory, moved the slots into one and or
Oh
two
yeah,
and
that's
four.
right.
Um, change my check the made sure I had the correct timing set in my XMP profile. So yeah, I mean that's all the stuff I've been doing, and it's weird. It seems like it will go a couple of days where everything is great, and then there's other days where I have to restart my computer 3 times in a day because I literally can't open new programs. Um, for a variety of errors. The Photoshop one says memory, Zoom or the Microsoft products just don't open. No rhyme or reason to it, but a restart fixes it, which lends me to believe it's something with the operating system, because once I restart, everything's great. Um, yeah, it's
So
rather bizarre.
there's a couple of things that I would look at
Okay, hit me.
before nuking Windows, but maybe nuking Windows. Okay, first of all, if you're going to nuke Windows, in your particular situation, I would prepare a USB disk that is made on a different machine,
Sure,
just to make sure that you do not have any rootkit that maybe is acting up after
sure,
an extended idle time and then taking over. And then there's a slight chance that by just rewriting in place on that machine, that rootkit will remain. Okay, so just to rule that out, I would prepare a USB disk elsewhere. The problem is that when you come and install that, I'm not sure that it won't want to format. So if it will want to format, then you need to do some data juggling before you install.
sure.
Okay, but that's about in place. Before you do that, though, download the bulk crap uninstaller
Mhm.
and see what you can remove.
I was going through that process earlier
Yeah.
in the week.
See if
There's a
there's
lot of
anything
stuff on
weird,
there.
and make sure you clean up before.
Yeah,
So at least if you need to back up something, you'll be in your leanest state before you
Yeah.
do that. Yeah.
yeah. So that's been frustrating. I mean, it's um it's obviously frustrating, but this this potential issue is not necessarily something new with um uh Windows. This is at this point a 5.5-year-old Windows install, which I guess probably was originally Windows 10 that was then upgraded. And as heavy as I use this machine, this seemingly is about the timeline. I don't believe that this is not the first time when you get to a computer at this age. Unfortunately, things start getting a little wonky, and it's unfortunate, but it seems to be a common thread with old Microsoft Windows.
Well, I don't know. I mean, computer I'm running on is from 2016, I think, and it's showing its age. I've upgraded a couple of times in the past. Uh, it's definitely not the first Windows installation that I had on it. I mean, it's working, but definitely needs a refresh. So this one
So when you
is for
talking about
upgrades as well.
refresh.
No, what I mean is buying a new one. I need,
Oh, okay.
yeah, I need to replace this one. The CPU, while it was top notch when I bought it, it's not. There's not enough cores. And look, if all I would have done with it was open a browser, had maximum of 10 tabs open, and run, I don't know, Word every once in a while, then not a problem, right? But I am the type of person that at a certain time there's probably 60 different processes running in the background that I
Yep.
can't live without. Right? So yes, I am screwed in the head that way. but I mean, that's me. Like I push it to its limit usually. And then I want to do like some heavy lifting task on top of that, right? So um, so for me, it's time to upgrade, but it's still working. Like it's not like I am shouting at it the entire day or frustrated, or it's just I know it can do better, and I have the funds and I'll do it. Right? It's been enough time. I've I've taken out the juice out of it, I think, enough. So
Like you just mentioned rootkit. So I
yeah.
just Sophos has a rootkit tool that they make available for free. Just downloaded it,
Yeah.
trying to install it, and this is the end result is just a blank window that just says Sophos scan and clean. The install won't even run. I mean, and I'm sure if I tried to install any other software right now, it would be the exact same thing. I need to do a Windows reboot right now. Or not right now,
Okay.
but
Yeah,
the
yeah.
next thing for me to do when this is done is to reboot Windows so I can open anything.
So
That
there's
that's it's just it's very it's
That
it's
sounds like you have a program that's running away with memory.
but it's not though. I mean, I'm looking at
but
my
it's
memory
not
usage
memory.
is 55%. Chrome is using the vast majority of it. vMix is using a
Hmm.
little over a gigabyte, and Zoom's using about 700 megs, which is all practical. I've got a bunch of Chrome tabs open and this and my video software.
And how does your I/O look like? Like the disk
0%
activity?
usage.
Interesting.
My
So
the biggest usage is system at zero point 0.1 megabytes, followed by Chrome at zero point 0.1 megabytes.
right.
'Cause I'm not
So
writing anything.
here's the thing. A refresher on what a rootkit is, right? A rootkit is something that loads while the OS loads. And the reason it does it is because that allows it to hide itself completely from the OS.
Yeah.
So, or for the human running the OS, not from the OS, but from the human running the OS. So, uh, if a rootkit is a possibility, the only way rootkits can be detected on a infected system, right, is by one taking sort of a snapshot of the state before, like on the infected system, writing some sort of file somewhere, then rebooting to an offline system, basically something that is out of bounds of the OS, usually a USB key with some bootable software that then takes another snapshot of the system and compares it to the snapshot you took when you were infected. If there's any difference, uh, especially in executable areas or like some sensitive areas like the system, then there's suspicion for rootkit, and then the solution is easy. Just remove those files while you're offline. Uh, that's probably what Sophos does provide. Um, and I mean, that will be the first thing I'd look at, because if there is, then resetting Windows won't help. It'll know how to survive that reset. It will not know how to survive if you install Windows from a USB key, something that boots
Yeah.
regardless of what's on the
So,
drive.
so you'd be talking about for some of our listeners, maybe you've heard the term media creation tool before. We've talked about that from
Yeah,
time to time. You can on any computer, doesn't even need to be a Windows machine, download what Microsoft makes called it's a small file, the Windows media creation tool. You say, hey, I want to burn it to. I don't think you can even burn it to a CD anymore, but I want to burn it to a flash drive. It downloads the OS onto the computer that you're doing it and then burns it. To Microsoft's credit, the media creation tool is a really easy and good piece of software. It's so much easier than days past of Rufus and a random ISO from Microsoft's website. They've done a really, really good job with the media creation tool. And Microsoft doesn't do a good job with most things.
well,
But to their credit,
they fell in suit with all of the open source
yeah,
options.
Yeah, which is great because I mean,
Yeah.
burning a Windows ISO in the past um, was not something that what I'll say a normal person would be able to do. You would need an ISO burner. You would need some sort of whatever. And then I'm sure I haven't done this, but if you go to Google, I'm sure if you search Windows 11 ISO, um, I'm sure there's some scam companies buying ads in the through AdWords or whatever to try and make it, some
Make you
sort of
click on it. Yeah.
I'm sure. Yeah.
yeah. Actually, it's funny enough. It looks like I binged it. That's not the good place to search for it. Um, hmm, yeah. So that's what I'm dealing with. I'll reboot here after the show. Um, I have BCU bulk crap on installer. Malwarebytes shows the machine is clean. Um, Windows AV, has been running, continues to run, doesn't show any major issues. Um, so yeah, maybe I didn't really
There's one
didn't
more
really
option.
yeah.
And that's getting some. There are. I don't remember the name right now. I think Hirens is one of them. There are solutions where you can have Windows bootable from a USB key,
Mhm.
then run it on this machine, or just actually attach a USB attached hard drive if you have one. Install Windows on it, right? And try running that for like 24 hours or something on the machine. I know it's hard, right? Because you need to work on it, but maybe something like that to just rule out that it's something on the machine that's doing it. But
That's a
again,
good
you
idea.
you you did mention that it can be a few days that there's nothing, and then a day that there is. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how to pinpoint that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And it
Okay,
looks like
I got to drop.
see you later,
So
gal.
Okay,
bye
guys.
bye.
Have a good day. Nick,
Yes, sir.
if you had to completely redo your machine right now,
Mhm.
how much of a problem is it going to be? I mean, the programs that you have on the
It would be a couple days worth of work. It can easily be
okay, no, a
done
couple of days is a lot of work.
well, I mean, realistically, probably an entire day, but it's something that would need to probably start on a Friday after work and then probably lead into a 3-day weekend.
All right,
Um,
now, how far back can you go with restore?
I'm not even gonna look at that. It's not practical. This has been an ongoing issue in one way or another for months.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it's
finally getting to the point now where I have no choice but to a it's and the reason I'm thinking it's Windows is it started as little annoyances here and there, things that were just kind of like, "Oh my god, like this what a pain in the ass." Now it's to the point where I actively cannot get work done because I can't open documents, I can't edit anything in Photoshop. It's to the point now where I am I ha if I
it's
will I
hindering
have
your
to make
work.
yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
have to do something about it like now because it's becoming impossible to get anything done without having to constantly reboot. Um, which is odd. So I didn't really think about it. I didn't really think about any rootkit stuff. Um, so
It's
I'll
yeah,
I'll try that after we're said and done here. See if anything comes forward.
you have an older PC, right? This is a
No,
new PC.
not new. It's 5 years old. I don't have
I thought
anything I
you
can work.
just built one.
I mean, I just built a server.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have anything I can use in the meantime. So it needs to be a full what I would end up doing is buying a new NVMe drive and putting everything on one NVMe drive and then getting a dock or some sort of enclosure and then install on a I have two I don't know how big they are. Let's see. I've got I've got a 1 terabyte NVMe that Windows sits on, and then a 2 terabyte NVMe that uh, my video games and all of my video and audio recording stuff sits on. So I would just probably buy a new 2 terabyte drive, move everything important over to the current one, pop that out, put it in an enclosure, and use that to copy files over, and then just blow out Windows on the current C drive. So it
You
would be
if
that's why I'm saying it would be a process is having to move everything over because I don't have another machine to jump to, move everything over, make sure I don't forget anything. And the good news is I don't need everything day one. I mean, I'll be able to download and get stuff as I need it. Um, um, so yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. It's rather frustrating.
um the I think I have an i7 4770,
It's a 15-year-old computer.
but it hasn't been used much. It's one that I
Yeah.
was using here in the studio.
I mean, I have older computers, but I don't have anything that I can use for what I do.
Well, I mean, that's what I was going to say. So if you just use all the offline programs on it, like Photoshop, yeah, it may take a little longer, another minute to do this,
I mean,
but
I have a laptop I can put Photoshop, and I already have Photoshop and stuff on that.
okay. So these days, what is the most annoying part that you cannot do? That you
I can't
find, oh,
open
geez.
I can't open I get halfway through my day and I can't open any new programs. I'm sure right now if I don't have Word open, I'm sure if I try to open
No, no,
Word
no,
right now, it wouldn't.
don't mess it up. So you
Well, I'm
see,
not messing it up. So let's see.
that's
So I'm having the same issue right now. I try to open Word, it comes up and it immediately crashes. All of the Excel products do that, and I'm going to open Photoshop and it's going to give me the same error that
all
it's out
right.
of memory.
I would really, I mean, what I would every time I change computers, what I did is I put them side by side, KVM, and I would
Yeah.
just use it. And in my free time, I will build the other one, add the programs, and oh, I need to use this, put it on, put it. Yeah, it
Yeah,
takes
that's not
time.
super practical.
It's not super practical, but it's not stressing.
Well, it doesn't matter if it's well, it needs to be stressful. I mean, I need to be able to produce an audio and video show, Monday morning at 5 o'clock. So it's not a situation where I can slow walk it, which is fine. I mean, I know what I need to
Mm,
grab. I know what I need to move over. Um, so yeah, I'm at a situation now where nothing new will load or open.
wow.
And I
And
rebooted.
you don't see anything weird in Task
Nope,
Manager?
nothing. Nothing at all. It's why I'm lending myself heavily to the fact that um it's just something screwy with the Windows install.
Did you try to open the programs when they don't open, like right now? If it
Mhm.
was practical or at this point, I would say disconnect from the internet and try to open these. If it's a rootkit, it's probably trying to communicate with whatever, and maybe if you offline,
No. I'll try that right after we're done here though. It's
yeah,
an
you
interesting idea.
that's that. I mean, that happened a few times with me when I had to work on computers, and you disconnect from the internet, and it will allow you to do things.
Yeah. I will
Mm,
I will give that a shot.
all
So
right,
yeah, that's what's going on here.
that's not fun.
No, it sure as hell is
No,
not.
yeah.
So yeah, that's where we're at.
Mm, all
Fun
right.
times in the city.
Um, let's switch a little bit here.
Mike's
Jointing,
asking a good question in the chat. I know you've talked about this a little bit. Have you decided what you're gonna do with your
um,
Skype number? You're
got.
gonna move it over
I
to
think I'm gonna do Google Voice, and I think Galo was saying this afternoon he can help me with that to do it quick
the
because
only
I
problem
don't
you're gonna have with
remember.
Google Voice is you're not really gonna have a good way to take those calls on the air.
Why?
Because there's no client for Google Voice on the computer. You just have to use it in browser.
Okay, so what happened? Wait a second. I don't have a waiting room or green room with Skype either.
I'm not saying you have a waiting room or green room, but you have you have Skype running. You'll just have to
Yeah.
run Google Voice in a Chrome tab, and that's how you'll have to take phone calls.
No, that's fine. As long
Okay.
as I know that there's a call coming in and I
Yeah.
can
Mhm.
click on
Yeah.
it and it will connect to the
Just make sure you do it on a Gmail account that you are actively using.
yeah. Okay.
That would be my only recommendation.
Mike says Windows.
Safety scanner? I've never even heard of that.
Me neither. Windows Safety Scanner. Yeah, but if these programs learned how to hide themselves from the OS and from any of those detectors, and
I'm not opposed to running a whole bunch of different
oh no, that's I'm not
a whole
saying you
bunch of
should be. Yeah.
whole bunch of different things.
Yeah, but the fact
I'm
that they return, oh, everything is okay, does not mean that's what I'm
no.
saying.
So, all right. This looks promising. I'm gonna download this as well and run this
Yeah.
run this once we're done here this morning.
All right. So a joint investigation found that at least 5 popular VPN apps on the App Store and Google Play have ties to Kihu 360, a Chinese company with military links.
Hmm.
Apple has since removed 2 of the apps, but has not confirmed the status of the remaining 3, which 9 to 5 Mac notes have racked up more than 1 million downloads. The 5 apps in questions are Turbo VPN, VPN Proxy Master, Thunder VPN, Snap VPN, and Signal Secure VPN, which is not associated with the Signal messaging app. So if you have one of those VPN programs, watch out.
Not watch out. Find a new provider.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's what I mean.
I've been using a service called Private Internet Access. You may have heard it described as the acronym for it is PIA. I've been using that for
No.
years now.
Yeah.
Trying to look at how much I pay for it. Let's see billing history. Looks like I pay $49 a year
A
for it.
year. Ah,
Yeah. Um,
yeah, for somebody that it's worth. Absolutely.
yeah, I mean it's one of those things it's cheap enough where it's good to have. So Mike's saying for the Microsoft Safety Scanner, it finds rootkits. You have to run a full scan. It takes hours. That's good to know. Okay, I can run that. I can run that this afternoon and just let it chug away.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it.
I had a situation yesterday with Bill, who's here in the chat. Brought his laptop. It's an HP that has the biometric
Mhm.
finger scanner thing.
Is it on the power button or is it a separate
No, it's
standalone
a
button?
separate. So on
Okay,
the right of the tracking track
sure.
pad, whatever. Um, he doesn't know what his PIN is, and he doesn't know anything about password or what email he set up when he always used just the finger. Now, when you use a finger scanner, it comes up and say your PIN is necessary to open.
Yeah, there's an issue with the HID device.
So I I didn't know what to do here. I mean, it's a catch 22. You can't log into the machine to do anything, and there's a button that says forgot my password or forgot my pin, but it really doesn't. It goes and it asks you, okay, what email address did you use? And again,
Well,
you
that does work. I mean, you're talking about a very, I'm going to say, obscure situation where
yeah,
somebody does not know
right,
email, has no information about the computer.
right,
That's always going to be tough.
yeah. And so I said the only way I can see to solve this at this point is reformat, and he really didn't have much other than Outlook.
So what was the issue?
He can't log in.
Well, yes, but is the biometric scanner no longer working?
Well, it seems like it's working because after you do it, it says a your PIN is required to open.
Yeah, so
So
mine
it
does
knows.
that. My laptop has the biometric scanner built into the power button.
Yeah.
And I feel like it may be after, like, similar to an iPhone, like after a Windows update, it will, like, for example, my iPhone uses Face ID. When you restart your iPhone, not all the time, certain times, it will say enter your PIN to enable Face ID. Like it blocks it out after a restart or something like that.
Okay.
Um, so that's probably what's happening there.
Yeah, but again, if you
And
don't know,
the pin's only
right?
four letters, right?
Well, it's a yeah four. No, it's
Four
as
numbers.
short as a four. It says something like that.
He has no idea what the pin is.
No.
Hmm.
So I said that the only thing I know what to do at this point is to reinstall Windows and hope that it's going to come up like that. But it's drastic.
Yeah, I mean,
And
the problem you have now is unlike days of the past where you could just you could boot into some ISO and
right,
reset the password or whatever.
right.
None of that's possible with the encryption and is it BitLocker enabled?
Who knows? I don't know what's available on it because you can't
Can you
get
not
in.
log in? Can you not get to CMD and enable the
You
administrator account to
cannot
log
get
in?
anywhere past the
There's
login.
a way where you can, and I've done this before, where you rename CMD as a different file
So you're
and
talking
turn
about booting with a different piece of so.
well, yes, but now there's a way where you can, you you copy CMD and you rename it to startup something or other. You replace a startup file, and when Windows loads, the it loads up startup.exe, which is really just a command prompt, and from there you can screw around with the administrator account.
Hmm. Okay, Bill, you're hearing that?
Let me see if I can
That's
find it.
interesting. So with Windows 11, you can still like reboot.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know if you're allowed to do that anymore. I mean,
Oh,
that was Windows 7. I don't even know if it was a Windows 10 thing, but they've gotten rid of most of that stuff as BitLocker and drive encryption has come forward. None of that stuff none of that stuff works anymore.
John is saying I saw an article on Dick's computer tips. Or about Dave's
Close
about
enough.
adding a VPN to a router. Is this an alternative to VPN on a
So,
PC?
yeah,
Well, I mean, it's better to
s-
do it like that, but
well, no, it's not better.
why?
I mean, well, so here's the thing. Depending on when you have your entire network VPN, which is presumably what you would be doing if you're setting it up on a router, um, that is going to funnel all of your network traffic through a VPN. You might say, well, that's not an issue at all, or that's fine. And maybe for your use case it is. Um, but I don't want all of my I want some of my traffic to be from my IP address. For example, if you look up on Google restaurants near me,
Oh,
it
yeah.
uses your Windows location. It uses your
Good point.
location services to do some of that. So now maybe that's not a big deal. Um, on a home network, unless you are download this, this is not gospel, but I mean, unless you're downloading content illegally, I would use a VPN for that. I wouldn't use a VPN to do banking. You're on a home secured network unless you've got your Wi-Fi broadcasting, out and in a public network. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know why you would want to run a home VPN 24/7 outside to completely masquerade yourself online.
Yeah, that's a good
I don't
point.
believe there's any additional privacy benefits of it. I really don't. Um, that's just my go-to to it.
No, it's true. I mean, I'm thinking I have a VPN that Ron set up on the router when I'm connecting to any of my servers, but not to the world.
Sure,
So
and there's
that's what I'm thinking, and you're right. It's not a good thing because then anything
well, not
near
it's
me.
it's not that it's not a good thing, but those are those are some of the things that you might take for granted, like going on Google and saying, sports bars near me
Yeah,
or whatever things that you used to be able to do that now every time you'll go, you'll be finding sports bars near me in
yeah,
Chechnya
yeah.
or wherever your VPN is centered.
Good point.
Um, might not be an issue.
Good point.
It might be an issue. Who knows?
To go back to the login, I was reading an article yesterday that Microsoft is going to do away with the local account. Right now, there's
Sure.
all kind of ways around it
Hmm.
to create, but they're taking everything out, so you will not be able to do a local. They want everybody to be on a Microsoft account.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean it makes sense that part of there's a couple of things behind it. Um, Microsoft, very similar to Apple, wants you in their ecosystem. This is a way to
sure.
force you. Which, by the way, we're at a point now where you using your Microsoft account to set up a copy of Windows is not really that big of a deal. I've got a Microsoft account on this computer, my laptop. They're both on Microsoft accounts, and I don't have any big issues with it. Um, and it's a to me it's a security thing for them. I mean, if Amnon, if I can get into your computer for an hour, physically get to your computer for an hour, I can I can if I know what I'm doing, I can 100% get, or used to be able to 100% gain access to your system. I'd boot
Mhm.
from some Hiren's boot CD or some other ISO, reset a password on your account, or create a new administrator account inside of Windows, and boom, I'm into your computer.
It's not.
And I know that's having physical access is obviously there's not much you're going to do with that, but it's all part of that. Plus, with BitLocker, all of that stuff becomes useless anyway. Once that drive is encrypted,
Yeah.
there's, I mean, I even what did I do the other day? Oh, when I was updating my BIOS, it warned me that if I had BitLocker enabled, I needed to back up a recovery key first because the hardware ID could have changed or would have changed, and it likely would have locked me out of my account. So now I don't use BitLocker. I don't think there's any reason to on a personal machine. Um, but it's very prominent and popular in business.
I think. I think it comes.
I don't think it comes by default. I could be wrong.
No,
Let's
I don't
see. Is
remember.
BitLocker enabled by default? So it in Windows 11 24H2, it is enabled. If you're upgrading, see, and that's the thing. I've done upgrades. So as of August of last year, BitLocker is now enabled enabled by default with a
Mhm.
new version of Windows, or a fresh install of Windows 11.
Yeah.
But you can obviously disable it.
Yeah. Afterward, if you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. But here's the thing, for the vast majority of people, they don't know and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
right? It doesn't. BitLocker's not doing anything. BitLocker's not doing anything that affects 99% of users.
Correct. All right. You have an AT&T phone or Verizon or what?
I do. I also now have a I technically also now have a Verizon phone number. It is linked to a home
Yeah.
Wi-Fi internet unit, but I am now a proud, very proud AT&T customer, of course. Never had any problems with them. Proud AT&T and proud Verizon customer.
So on June 17th, AT&T will stop supporting email to text messages.
Sure.
That means you won't be able to send a text message to an AT&T customer from an email address. You can still get in touch with AT&T customers using SMS, text, MMS, and standard email services. From what I read here, I mean, I get notices when something is happening with the servers, and
Mhm.
it's and Ron set up like a, I think Amnon dash uh, something. I can't remember what it is to send messages to my phone. So this sounds like it's a problem.
Yeah, it will be. And that's where you start using a some sort of alert service.
Yeah.
I was going to recommend one. I just started using it and then it was announced that they're shutting down. Um, so that was great. There was a service called Ops Genie, OPS Genie. It was by the people that make Trello. I don't know if
Mhm.
you've ever used Trello before.
No.
It's like it's um it's not even a project management software. It's a card software to keep track of tasks and projects and things like that. Um, they make a piece of software called Ops Genie. Atlassian owns all of them now, and they are shutting it down later this year. So now I need to find something new as well for my TrueNAS machine.
Look in the chat for what
Yeah, I'm
Mike.
looking at this. Yeah, this hopefully John has not blown out his machine yet. Um, this looks like it could be pretty promising. I haven't watched the complete video yet. I've just skimming through it and looking at the screenshots, but this is very familiar of what what things used to look like.
Okay.
Um, so that I would give that a shot.
All right.
Alan, going back, I know we're kind of jumping all over the place. Alan
Go
says,
back.
talking about the VPN stuff on the router, it allows you to serve devices like Roku on which VPNs are not applications in the ecosphere. If you have a router that will allow you to funnel certain traffic will allow you to funnel certain traffic out of the VPN, definitely a worth it venture for something like a Roku, where you could, be in Canada, for example, or somewhere in the EU watching Netflix,
Mhm.
or was it ITV or the BBC or whatever, things that are region locked. Definitely that might be a good worthwhile venture. You're I don't know if most consumer I don't know if most consumer routers support that. I don't know. I would assume on a more entry level router, the VPN is either on or off. Um, the other alternative is to set up VLANs. Um, but if your devices are connected on Wi-Fi, you're going to have to everything on Wi-Fi is going to have to be unless you could put your 2.4 gigahertz radio on a VLAN and your 5 gigahertz on a separate. That would, I guess, be an option if your router supports that. But then you're starting to get into really complicated networking stuff.
Yeah, you need to know what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
I,
right.
I mean, I've got a super old router and it supports a VPN client on the device. Um, I've never used it, but yeah, it supports it.
Do you use Zelle?
No, but I did see that. I did see very interesting news about them this
Yeah.
week.
Zelle has shut down its standalone app on Tuesdays. On
Yeah.
Tuesday, according to a company blog post. This news might be alarming if you're one of the over 150 million customers in the US who use Zelle for person to person payments. But only about 2% of transactions take place via Zelle's app, which is why the company is discontinuing its standalone app. Most consumers access Zelle via their bank, which then allows them to send money to their phone contacts. Zelle users who rely on the standalone app will have to re enroll in the service through another financial institution. Given the small user base of the Zelle app, it makes sense why the company would decide to get rid of it. So, if you have been using the standalone, then you need to look into. I'm sure your bank is going to let you know something.
Well, no, because if no, they won't because if you're using it through your bank, then it's not a problem, right? Zelle itself, the service is not shutting down. Most people are using Zelle through their bank. So you're not using their app. You're logging into your Bank of America account and sending a Zelle payment from within Bank of America. Um,
Where's the
most
money come? Does Zelle act like Zelle doesn't act as a bank? I mean, you have to use your bank, even with the standalone. You have to use money somewhere, stored somewhere in order to
I'm
send it.
yeah, I'm sure on the Zelle app, which I've never used, it probably acts something like a Venmo or a Cash App where you can put money into it. You link your bank to it, and it's kind of a middleman account like Venmo or Cash App or whatever is, or even Apple Pay. And you can move money between you can, when you're buying something, it just draws directly from your bank account and sends it on Zelle. But most people are using Zelle. Well, not presumably, they seem to indicate it in their press release. Most people are using Zelle within their financial institution, which is not going anywhere. I know people that have used Zelle. I have never used Zelle. I don't even think my bank supports it.
I don't use any of these apps. Um,
Yeah,
uh,
my bank doesn't even support Zelle. It's a good way to get away from credit card processing fees. That's why you see some people using it.
I'm looking in the chat to see if there's okay. Um, so a lot of people are using Thunderbird for email.
Sure they are. Yeah.
So Mozilla plans to introduce a suite of paid professional services for its open source Thunderbird email client,
Good.
transforming the application into a comprehensive communication platform dubbed Thunderbird Pro. The package aimed to compete with established ecosystems like Gmail and Office 365 while maintaining Mozilla's commitment to open source software. Not bad.
Makes sense. I mean, open source software is great.
Yep.
We talk a lot about open source software. The biggest problem with open source software is there's no support.
Right.
And if you have got small businesses that are using Thunderbird and they're not Microsoft houses and they're not using Office 365, they're using Gmail or they're running mail on a small web server, which is still practical depending on how many customers and how many email addresses you have. Um, Thunderbird is probably the best EM client, but you have to pay for it.
Yeah. Well, you don't have to pay for it.
Well, that's true, but it's limited on the
Yeah.
free version, right?
Yeah. It's to
EM
two
client and
accounts.
Thunderbird. Thunderbird, I think, looks closer to old school Outlook. At least last time I used it, it's closer to old school Outlook than EM client is. But there's no support for Thunderbird,
Right.
which is a
There's
problem.
no phone number or any kind of.
And there probably won't be a phone number with
No.
this either, but it will be beneficial depending on how much it is. For a small to medium sized business that's using
Yep.
Thunderbird to purchase this if that's what they're interested. If they don't have an IT person on staff, and every time there's an email issue, they've got to pay an IT guy 100 or $150 an hour to come in and deal with it. It's
Mhm.
probably going to be a lot cheaper to subscribe to. Did they announce any pricing on it?
No.
You said it's called
They
Thunderbird
are they
Pro.
are yeah, but it says that they are planning to introduce. So,
So
I
I'm
mean, it's
looking.
not there yet. Thunderbird Pro, they call it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, there's no information on pricing
yeah,
on their.
it sounds like it's still being developed.
So the
So,
three things that you're going to get are Thunderbird Appointment, which is a scheduling tool, which allows you to do like an open calendar meeting invite. Thunderbird Send, which is an end-to-end encryption file
mhm,
sharing service, which is built into Firefox Send. We talked about that years
right.
ago. And then Thunderbird Assist, which is an AI
Support?
processing
Oh,
service for email. Um, and part of it also will give you an email at a Thunderbird domain, thunderbirdmail.com.
hmm, like Gmail.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
I'm going to join the wait list for this. Yeah,
And
interesting.
we were close last week to TikTok being banned, right? Banned.
Yeah.
But then Trump extended deadline for ByteDance by another 75 days.
Yeah, just completely disregarding the law.
But before that, right before it, Amazon has put in a last minute bid to acquire all of TikTok.
OnlyFans put in a bid as well. Did you see that?
Who?
OnlyFans?
Really?
They did. I saw that they put in a bid as well to try and purchase it. I guess they've got the money.
Sheesh.
Presumably they have the money. I mean, I can't
Yeah.
imagine you're lowballing a bid in to purchase TikTok.
Yeah, but another 75 days.
Yep, great. Just completely ignoring.
Well,
Completely ignoring.
um, and if you have an iPhone, you can now choose WhatsApp as your iPhone's default app for calls
That's pretty cool.
and
That's always
text
been the issue on
messages.
iPhone.
Yeah. After updating WhatsApp to version 25, you'll see the app appears as an option in your messaging and calling default app settings. So take a look at that. Another thing with Microsoft that was interesting here, where is it? Microsoft is pushing businesses to shift away from perpetual Office licenses to Microsoft 365 subscriptions,
Sure.
citing collaboration, limitation, and rising IT costs associated with standalone software. You may have started noticing limitations, Microsoft says in a post. Your apps are stuck on your desktop, limiting productivity anytime you're away from your office. I mean, those perpetual licenses were not cheap. When a company buy that, and
But they
it's
haven't been selling those for quite some
I
time.
know, but still,
Yeah. Thunderbirdmail.com is not a valid site.
maybe not yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thundermail.com. My apologies.
Thunder
Thundermail.com.
Mail. Oh,
My bad. They should buy thunderbirdmail.com and redirect it.
hmm. WhatsApp is used by some his family when we're on trips, but I prefer regular calls, text. I I have no problem using Signal or WhatsApp for phone calls.
No, but you do one of the benefits of Android, we were talking about Google Voice, is you can set Google Voice as your default app for dealing with that stuff. You've been unable to do that on iPhone since, forever. That's been always one of the issues is using something like Google Voice on iPhone is not impossible, but a royal pain in the ass. Because every time you click on a phone number, it is not opening in Google Voice. It's dialing it in the built-in
And
phone app. But it's interesting that Apple is having to back off some of that stuff
well,
and have to open some of it up.
yep.
Alan says, I've never sent someone money on my US account. The sending money app up here is part of Canada-wide ATM POS network. So what is the purpose of Zelle if the bank app can do it? In the US, we don't really have that. You're not the you can't easily send money between financial institutions without, I mean, you do a wire, but to do a wire, I believe you have to go into a bank and physically do it. I don't think you can do a bank wire online. Maybe you can, but you have to do a wire. You need to know their routing number. You need to know their account number. I mean, it's quite a process. Zelle, you just need to know their Zelle address, which is most cases an email address or a phone number. And then you just log into your bank and say, hey, I want to send $100 to this email address. And then the Zelle network handles that and dumps the money into the correct financial institution. Our banking system doesn't have that built in. That's what Zelle does. So it sounds like it's built into the Canada or the Canadian
Hmm,
bank system. No, we don't have that. Like I'm trying to think, if I log into my bank right now on my phone, try and send
interesting.
money. I don't know. Move money. Oh, they do support Zelle. So my options are pay bills, do an internal transfer, an external transfer, which requires me to um know routing numbers and all of that, or send money via Zelle, which I didn't know I could do. Good to know.
Nice.
Yeah. Interact is one you use an email address. Yeah. Okay. So it sounds like Alan Zelle is the equivalent to that in the overall Canadian banking system. We don't have that. And that's really why you've seen probably Zelle's been out for a while, but it's why something like Venmo and Cash App are so popular because sending money between bank accounts is impossible, literally. Um,
As
most
a
people
as a
don't want it.
one-time thing.
Yeah, I mean, you go to a street fair and you want to buy something. I
Yeah,
mean, what are you going to do? Set up a wire transfer for $7 to somebody?
right, yeah.
It's not practical. Processing credit cards is expensive, right? It's minimum probably 3.5 plus a fee on top of that for every transaction. I'm dealing with that right now, and it's not the easiest thing in the world to deal with. Do you process credit cards, Amnon?
Yeah,
What do you use?
I have, uh, shush, what is it? Oh, authorized.net.
Authorize.net. Authorize.net's not cheap.
No, but it's going through some I think it's 2.1% or something like that.
But is there a fee probably or do you either pay monthly for it or you have maybe an account, um, or a charge per transaction,
It's a
maybe?
charge per action. I mean, a
Charge per
charge
action.
charge yeah, right.
And it's not super practical for most people to set that up.
No, it's not.
You're not going to create an authorized.net account to take money from a friend because you bought dinner and they want to split it with
Correct.
you. That's absurd.
Yeah.
But that's what Apple Pay, Venmo, Cash App, that's where they've really shined.
No.
And I don't think, and the issue that Zelle has, at least in the United States, is it's used by a lot of scammers too.
Yes, it is.
You'll see like, oh, I can't pay with this, but I can pay with Zelle. And it's not that Zelle is being used as a scam. They are sending you a fake Zelle link. And I think we've talked about this. They send you a fake Zelle link that looks like a Zelle.com. You
Mhm.
create an account, which is just you dumping your bank account information into a fake website. And then they can do some sort of transfer out of your account and steal all your money.
It's being used for nefarious.
The name of it is being used.
Yeah.
Zelle itself is not actually being used because Zelle is I believe the Zelle network is not um, decentralized. I believe those transactions can be viewed, but they are using the Zelle name to perpetrate fraud, which they've got to be furious with because it's not their fault that people are sending scam, sign up for Zelle creation link things. Um, yeah, sucks for Zelle.
No.
I've still never used it. Never had a reason to.
I use PayPal.
PayPal can process credit card. Their processing fee is pretty hefty from what I
They're high
remember.
though, yeah.
Zoho just started introducing a payment system, but it's beta. So I'm trying to figure out what to use for some simple processing stuff.
All right. It's that time of day. Oh, I thought you froze for a
Oh, no,
second.
I'm here.
All right. Well,
As many issues as I'm having with my computer, it is not freezing and it is not crashing, which I'm very fortunate is not the case. No freezing or crashing, just impossible to use.
when it's kind of like sitting there and not doing what it's supposed to do, did you ever look at the hard drive light to see if it's
Well, I don't have a hard drive.
what do you
But
have?
I have two NVMe's.
Yeah, I understand, but I mean, there's
Yeah, I
still
mean, I've got disk. I've got task. I'm keeping Task Manager open essentially 24/7 now, and nothing is happening. And my CPU usage is 23%, and most of that is Carbonite, which looks like it's backing up. So
okay.
it's uploading stuff in the background.
Yeah.
Disk activity is 0% with system using a whopping 0.2 megabytes a second. Yeah. So who knows? Hopefully, I'll be here next week.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Well, anything else you want to add?
Uh,
Your
not.
your
Oh,
your internet is back.
yep, yep. That's good. Have not had to play around with the Verizon box. I got to get it out of the attic. It's too hot up there. The device is probably, if it not already, is melted. Um, I need to deal with that sooner rather than later.
So you found out that there's no way to add an external antenna.
I'm waiting for a YouTube. I'm waiting for a YouTuber to create a video on it. This
Oh,
guy
okay.
posted a video and commented that he was going to be working on a video that was like 6 weeks ago. So
Okay.
hopefully in the next couple of weeks, I can find a solution and bring the unit back down to the
Okay.
climate controlled section of the house.
Where in the attic did you put it? On the ceiling?
Now it's right above my office.
On the floor of the attic?
It's on a ceiling joist, or it's on a roof joist. I've got it propped up on a roof joist.
Oh, so it's right next to the roof itself.
Yeah. Mhm. It's right
Okay.
next to one of the
No,
one of the
I'm just
eaves on the
wondering. I
side of
was
the
just
house.
thinking, if it's on the floor somewhere in the attic, then you can also stick it on the ceiling in your office. It's not a few inches
No,
off.
no, yeah, you're right. Yeah. Yeah, it's
But
it's
no, if
it's
it's
it's pretty good. I mean, yeah, once I can get it, I'll figure out some way to rig some sort of outdoor antenna up to it and call it a
yeah,
day.
hopefully.
Yep. That's the plan. I mean, if not, it still works. So such is life. They're throttling the speeds anyway, so it's not like I'm going to get much better in terms of speeds, but it'll be the
Well, but at
consistency
least
of the
you get
connection.
something.
Yeah, speed's not the issue. It's the signal jumping between, minus 100 and minus 120 dB of loss, which is a significant difference.
It's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's all.
All right, Nick. Well, thanks.
Thank you.
And Gal, thank you for this morning. Katie, I hope you're going to feel better if you're listening. And Spence, I hope to see you soon. But that's it for today. So good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie and Dana, Dina, Mati, Eleanor, Sarid, Yaakov and Yael. Thank you, everybody, for tuning to Computers to Connect. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive and update your virus scanner. And change any same passwords wherever you use them. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. Monday through Friday, 5 to 6 a.m., Nick hosts the Carolina Journal News Hour on WBT, 1110 a.m. and 99.3 FM, and it's on YouTube. Just search YouTube for the Carolina Journal News Hour. And Nick also does his new show, broadcast from 7 till 8, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. Political stuff. And Nick and Brian host the Infection Podcast on Twitch once a week. Just go to infectionpodcast.com and see when the show is on. And that's for gaming, survival games, gaming news, and some political points here and there. So have a great week, and we'll be back together next week. Bye-bye.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com and DeltaForce.net.